Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Omoti. Now today's video will be making this beautiful maxi gown you're seeing on the thumbnail. If this is what you're interested in watching, kindly watch to the very end, and please don't forget to like, comment and share my videos so that other people can enjoy from it. And if you are a returning subscriber, I say a very big thank you to you. And if you are coming across my video for the very first time, I love you so much. So let's dive into today's video. This is a crepe fabric I'm using. I'm making use of 3 years of the flowering crepe, while the plain one is 2 years. It's also a crepe, but I later changed it to black because I'm contemplating on which one to use, but I later use black for the down part. So I'm using 3 inches for the main fabric, which is the upper part, and the down part I make use of 2 inches. So I folded this fabric into 4 in a triangular form. I folded it into 4 in a triangular form. I'm cutting both front and back together at the same time. So after folding it this way, the next thing to do is to measure, to determine where you can get your bust measurement. Your bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. Are you getting whatever you have as your bust measurement, divide it by 4 and add 1 inch for sewing allowance. And that point also is also serving as our chest line. So at that point, you connect it this way. So you connect with your straight rule this way. So after connecting, you place your tape on where you can get your armhole. The armhole I'm working with is 7.5. At my 7.5 point, I chalk it down and I came down by 5 inches. That will serve as my strap. If you are using 4, measure out 4 inches. If you are using 6, measure out 6. Whatever inches you are using from your armhole, just measure it. Measure your armhole and minus whatever measurement you are using for your strap. So for mine, I'm using 5 inches. Are you getting me? I'm working with 5 inches. So at that 5 inches point, I came inward by 1.5, 1.5, and I connected it to the armhole with a slight cuff. Connected it to the armhole this way. So the next thing to do now, so I placed my tape on that point and I measured the length of the gown. Please note, add your 5 inches or whatever inches you use for the strap, deduct it from whatever measurement you are working with. If you are working with length 60, deduct 5 inches from whatever length you are working. Deduct whatever strap you use from your gown length, please. So that's what I'm doing here. So, and I connected it all round. So after doing that, after chalking it all round, I came down, I placed my tape under my upper chest. I measured down my waist. The waist I'm working with is 16 inches. And at that 16 inches, I came down by 2 inches, which will serve as my pocket opening. And I measured 7 inches from that point, and that's where the pocket will be stopping. So that's my pocket opening. Please notch it. Note this is the opening part, not the folded part, please. That's the opening part, not the folded part. So if you want a straight line, you can just leave it that way. I want my own a little bit curve at the chest line. So I came down to my chest line. If you don't want it that low, you can go up. If you want it more low, you can come down. So while cutting, I added half an inch at the upper part. That will serve as my joining. So after cutting, I noticed there is a shortage at the down part. So I placed the leftover fabric on it. Watch how I'm going to place it. So I placed my leftover fabric on it this way. And I pin it down with half an inch. I pin them all around with half an inch. So this is it after pinning it down. The next thing is to turn it to the other side so that I'll be able to cut it out. So after placing it this way, can you see that they are now equal? I'll cut it out. This is what you should have. Can you see how it's looking like? So you'll be sewing it down by half an inch at that point. So the next thing now to do is to start joining. Can you see I've cut the gown out? Is to start joining. So this is my pocket. I've cut the pocket also. I cut 4 pieces for the pocket. And this is the fabric I said I will be using for the down part. Initially I thought I would be using the other one I showed you, but I felt, can you see, I felt the black will come out very well on it than the other one. So I'm making use of 2 yards of a plain fabric here. You can make use of any fabric of your choice. So please, while cutting the upper part, measure whatever length your length you want to use for the down part. As for mine, I make use of 8 inches. Are you getting me? I use 8 inches for my own length. So determine, for you to know the length, it depends on what you want. Are you getting me? It depends on how long you want the down part to be. Are you getting me? So I make use of 8 inches and I measured out what I have at the down part of the gown. I measure it round, then I multiply it by 2.5. So whatever I have, that's what I cut out. So I had to cut 3 pieces for both front and back, 3 pieces for the front, 3 pieces for the back. So I had to join them together. Can you see? I've joined them together. So I'll be gathering this part. I'll be gathering it. Can you see what I have? I have 8 inches at that point. I'll be gathering it and be joining it to the upper part. So I've gone ahead to sew that. The next thing to do is to sew this part. The part I joined at the down part. So with half an inch. So after that, I took one piece of either front or back. I open it up this way and I'm going to gather it. I'm going to do the same thing for both front and back. You gather both. So after gathering, this is what you should have. The next thing you do is to measure that point. You measure it out. Now you see, I've gone ahead to gather both front and back. I've gathered it. So place it this way and take your tape rule to measure your chest line. If you're on a medium, you use 10 inches. If you're on a bigger size, you use 11, 12 inches. So for mine, I make use of 10 inches. If you're on a small size, you can make use of 8 inches, 9 inches. Are you getting me? So for mine, I make use of 10 inches at that point. So please ensure both front and back are the same. Measure it out. Ensure they are the same. So the next thing to do now is to now measure that part. Just measure it the same thing you see me doing in the video. Measure it out this way. This determines how low you want it to be. How low you want it to be at the front, how low you want it to be at the back. If you see that it is more than your measurement, please kindly gather it more. Are you getting me? For mine, I make use of 11. For mine, I make use of 11. So if you want it more low, you can add to it. So for the band, I make use of 1.5 by 11. 1.5 by 11. So that's what I'll be using to pipe the neckline. So I'm cutting two of these, 1.5 by 11. So right side of the piping facing wrong side of the fabric. Can you see me? Right side of the piping facing wrong side of the fabric, and you pin it down the same way you see me doing in the video. Then you run a stitch on it. It's better you have excess than shortage. So if you have any excess, you can just trim it out after sewing. Right side of the piping facing the wrong side of the fabric. So this is me on my sewing machine. I've placed the piping right side of the piping facing the wrong side of the fabric. Then I run a stitch on it as you see me do in the video. So after doing that, so after sewing, turn it this way, take the piping up, and can you see what I'm doing? Just turn it to the right side this way by half an inch and sew it down. So you do the same thing for both front and back. Watch closely what I'm doing. I turn the fabric to the right side and I sew it down by half an inch. So if you have, after sewing, if you have any excess, just try and trim it out. Can you see? So please do the same thing for the other side. So the next thing now is to sew down my pocket. I've placed the pocket on each side and I'm sewing it down by half an inch. I'm sewing it down by half an inch. So I'm going to do that to the four sides for both front and back. So after sewing it down, I'm going to top stitch also. I'll top stitch on the pocket itself, not on the fabric. I'm going to top stitch on the pocket and I'm going to do the same thing to the four parts of the pocket. So after joining the sides, measure the end parts, whatever measurement you have. So measure it out and that's what you are going to use to cut your down part I've explained earlier. So can you see I've gathered the down parts and I've joined it to the dress. I've joined it to the dress. So the next thing, I've closed the side also. I've closed the sides. So the next thing to do now is to cut out our strap. So to determine the measurement to cut out, from that part that you have sewn, you know we added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So from that part, just measure whatever you have this way. You measure it out and multiply it by 2. Measure it out and multiply it by 2. For mine, I have 4. 4 times 2 will give me 8 inches plus my strap of 5 inches. 5 times 2 also will give me 10 inches. So 10 plus 8 will give me 18 inches. Are you getting me? So I'm going to add 1 inches to it for joining, which will serve as, that's 19 inches. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. That point, that armhole side, I have 4 inches multiplied by 2 will give me 8 inches, and my strap is 10 inches for both front and back. 10 plus 8 will give me 18 inches plus 1 inch for joining, that's 19 inches. So I join it by half an inch together. So I'll be placing it this way, right side of the band, right side of the band to the wrong side of the fabric. Please, right side of the band to the wrong side of the fabric. Ensure that part that will join is facing the same area of the fabric. So you'll be sewing it down by half an inch. You sew it all round by half an inch. After sewing, then you turn it the same this way by half an inch and you turn it inward and sew it all down. So after sewing it down, this is what you should have. This is how it should look like. So you do the same to both sides. So our dress is ready. Can you see? Please, if you have find this video helpful, kindly give this video a thumbs up, like and share my video for more. The next thing is to hem the down part and you give it a very good press. Thank you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.